multidimensional, visible, goes beyond national borders, and so it requires a global response. India is committed at the highest level of combat climate change and also for meeting its commitment made to the international community under the Convention and its Paris Climate Change Agreement. The government is addressing challenges posed by climate change through its several key initiatives. We are working proactively in promoting low carbon and sustainable lifestyle, and our action translates into India's multiple policies and programs aimed at synchronizing development and climate change action at national, state, and local levels. The India economy is becoming greener through this conscious action, and there are efforts to enhance energy efficiency across the economy, increase the share of renewable energy in the national mix, and enhance forest and tree cover, while simultaneously meeting India's development challenge in a sustainable manner. India's climate action are rated high in many independent assessments. India has achieved reduction of 24% in emission intensity of its GDP between 2005 and 2016, thereby achieving its pre-2020 voluntary target. India's NDC has been rated as 2 degrees Celsius compatible. India's Honorable Prime Minister has further announced the aspirational target of renewable energy capacity of 450 gigawatt by 2030. India's total forest and tree cover is 24.56% of the total geographical area of the country, and it is increasing. We are moving ahead to achieve targeted forest and tree cover of 33% of total geographical area. India's forest and tree cover from 2009 to 2019 is 23,608 square kilometer. In the last two assessments of 2017 and 2019, there is an increase of 5,188 square kilometer in forest and tree cover. Under the able guidance of Honorable Prime Minister and his vision of energy justice, India sees hydrogen as a future energy driver. Toward this, we have launched the National Hydrogen Mission. I am fully confident that today's initiative under India-US Partnership Agenda will further help us in strengthening our climate action. As two mature and vibrant democracies, India and United States are natural partners with shared values. Our agenda encompasses all major pillars of our strategic priorities, including defense, security, energy, technology, education, and healthcare. Our growing economic engagement and deep-rooted people-to-people linkage with 4 million strong Indian diaspora in United States have played an important role in bringing the countries closer. During the launch of India-US Climate and Clean Energy Agenda 2030 Partnership at Leaders Summit on Climate in April 2021, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and President Mr. Joseph Biden have made a statement to enhance action to meet the goal of Paris Agreement. Climate Action and Finance Mobilization Dialogue of Agenda 2030 Partnership will provide both countries an opportunity to renewable collaboration on climate change while addressing the financial aspect. Recognize that India is already an attractive destination for global clean energy investment. I hope this dialogue will help to mobilize and deliver climate finance primary as grants of concessional finance as advised under Paris Agreement to strengthen climate action. I believe this dialogue will not only strengthen India-US bilateral cooperation on climate and environment, but also help to demonstrate how the world can align swift climate action with inclusive and resilient economic development, taking into account national circumstances and sustainable development practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Now, may I request Excellency Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, Mr. John Kerry, for his remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Is this ta-da, ta-da, ta-da? Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to be back in India, and I want to thank Minister Yadav for hosting this exciting event for the launch of the U.S.-India Climate Action and Finance Mobilization Dialogue. When I visited India last April, before we held the summit in Washington, before President Biden's summit, I was very pleased to be able to meet with and work with Prime Minister Modi to develop the U.S.-India 2030 partnership, which the Prime Minister and President Biden then announced at the summit. The Agenda 2030 partnership established a climate and clean energy agenda as a core pillar of the U.S.-India relationship. And the CAFMD, as we refer to it in short, is one of the two main tracks of the Agenda 2030 partnership that we created at the summit. The other part of that is the Strategic Energy Partnership, which my colleague and friend, Jennifer Granholm, the Secretary of Energy, will conduct as we conduct ours. So there are two pillars here. Today, the Energy Department is represented by the Deputy Secretary, David Turk, who is here in the front row. This launch comes at a truly critical juncture with respect to the challenge of climate crisis. The IPCC report, most recently, built on the report of 2018 when they warned all of us. The best scientists in the world said to us, including scientists from India, that the world has 12 years within which to make the most important decisions to avoid the worst consequences of the climate crisis. Regrettably, we had a president who pulled out of that agreement for a period of years, but nevertheless, governors and cities in the United States continued the effort of the United States to live up to the Paris Agreement. So today's launch comes at a time when the most recent IPCC report makes it clear that the world is not yet getting the job done, that we are on a track to reach dangerous levels of warming on the planet, and we have all seen the evidence of that over the course of this last year. Fires, drought, mudslides, floods, record levels of rain. Just the other day here in Delhi, there was a remarkable rainfall. This is happening now all the time. Floods that were predicted to only occur every 500 years, occurring every 5 or 10 years. And every one of us understands the basics of the science. To keep 1.5 degrees warming limit in reach and avoid even more catastrophic consequences of this crisis, we must take action now. We have to take action on short-term global emission reductions because that's the way we're going to actually meet the challenge of the climate crisis. And we have to reach a net zero global standard by 2050. Is that something that President Biden is saying or I'm saying? No. That's a matter not of politics, not of ideology. It is a matter of arithmetic and physics. It is what is happening because of the blanket of greenhouse gases that are warming the planet and warming the seas, the oceans, at a record rate where 90% of the heat goes, and also transforming the chemistry of the oceans more than it has been changed in millions of years. So my friends, in the United States and in India, we are both taking action. In the US, President Biden has set out a very ambitious domestic plan to address this crisis, and we have begun implementing that agenda from investing major new sums of money, public money, in infrastructure, to the launching of research and development programs that will set new standards for buildings, new standards for vehicles, and begin this transformation. No country can do this alone. And the world can't do it if everybody doesn't sign up to be part of the solution. That is why we are working to rally the world to address this massive challenge and to raise global ambition in the lead up to the meeting in Glasgow of all of the countries of the world that come together under this thing called the COP26, Conference of the Parties number 26. Prime Minister Modi, in addition, President Biden has also set the very ambitious goal that by 2030, 50% of all the vehicles sold in the United States will be electric. And General Motors and Ford Motor Company and others have joined in this announcement and say they will do it. The President has also set a goal that by 2035, our power sector will be carbon-free. That means free of oil, free of gas, free of coal by 2035. Prime Minister Modi has also set very ambitious targets here in India. The target of 450 gigawatts by 2030 of renewable energy is one of the most powerful goals set in the world. And already you have reached about 100 gigawatts of that. I congratulate India for achieving that remarkable milestone. And India is a world leader in demonstrating that economic development and clean energy can go hand in hand. And we are absolutely confident that that 450 gigawatts as a goal can and will be reached. And we look forward to partnering with India in the context of what we're talking about here today in order to help bring finance and bring technology and other elements to the table in order to achieve it. India is a world leader in demonstrating economic development, and clean energy is not a zero-sum choice, one or the other. You can do them both at the same time. I look forward to seeing this ambition, hopefully given its proper due credit at the COP in Glasgow. In order to achieve this climate action and finance mobilization dialogue that we're announcing today will serve as a powerful avenue for U.S.-India collaboration. There will be three pillars to this, three pieces. One, first, through the climate action pillar, we will develop proposals together that can contribute to curbing emissions during this critical decade all across the economy, our economies. In the power sector, this means a roadmap to achieve the 450 gigawatt renewable energy target, and across transportation, buildings, and industry, it means charting pathways for a clean transition. Second, through the finance mobilization pillar, we will collaborate on attracting capital and enhancing the enabling environment to deploy 450 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity and demonstrate and scale innovative clean energy technologies and promote bilateral clean energy investment and trade. I will just say parenthetically, over the last months in the United States, the 6 largest banks in America have all of them publicly committed that over the next 10 years, they will invest a minimum of $4.16 trillion in this effort to make this transition happen. And I am confident that with other banks around the world, other financial institutions, with asset managers and investment funds, that it's going to be much more than the 4.16 trillion. So I'm very, very pleased that today we have such robust participation from across the Indian government in this launch of the Climate Action Finance Mobilization Dialogue. One of the things I left out, in addition to the three parts, the third is adaptation and resilience. And we're going to collaborate to build the capacity to measure and manage climate risks in those other sectors of the economy. And we're also going to be active on the protection of forests, which is a major responsibility of Minister Yadav. So, my friends, the reality is that Prime Minister Modi has been a tremendous leader in this, and we look forward to his visit to the United States in a few days when we'll have an opportunity to be able to discuss this further. There's never been a better time to invest in the energy transition. Renewable energy is cheaper than ever. In fact, it is cheaper to build a solar farm in India than anywhere else on the planet. And investors are now flocking to clean energy all around the world. And the energy transition is already rebounding after the worst of the pandemic, and it is now on track to smash the pre-pandemic record of $8.4 billion invested in 1 year. Clean energy represents, and I want to emphasize this, the choice we face about dealing with climate is not a choice between your quality of life and dealing with climate. You have one or the other. You can have them both. If we deal with the climate crisis properly, we will have better health, less cancer, less air pollution, more security, and we will have a stronger economy with many, many more jobs as we build out our energy grids, transition our transmission lines, build the energy economy of the future. Every economic study shows it is far less expensive to deal with the climate crisis now than it will be to wait for the future. So it's an enormous economic opportunity for all of us. And the International Energy Agency forecasts that if India seizes the clean energy opportunity, which it is, it could become the world's largest market for batteries and solar panels. There is a major opportunity for us to coordinate our two countries in a way that expands our bilateral investment and trade in clean energy products and services to both of our economic benefit. So beyond just deploying renewable energy, my friends, we need to develop, demonstrate, and scale up emerging technologies that will be crucial for the net zero transition. Let me just emphasize that. Even if we get to net zero by 2050, the job isn't over. We will have to suck some 1 trillion tons of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere in order to prevent future damage. And already our laboratories are very busy working on new technologies to be able to do that, direct air carbon capture. And I am confident that we're going to develop that capacity. The IEA tells us that roughly half the emissions reduction needed for net zero by 2050 will need to come from emerging technologies not yet ready for the commercial markets. That's an incredible future. So I look forward to our very robust collaboration through the new Climate Action and Finance Mobilization Dialogue, and I am absolutely convinced that through this partnership, India and the United States can set an example for the world how swift climate action with inclusive and resilient economic development can bring the world closer to our goals and build stronger economies for all of us. Thank you very much for the pleasure.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Special Presidential Envoy for Climate. With these concluding remarks, we declare the formal launch of the Climate Action and Finance Mobilization Dialogue. I thank all the respected dignitaries. Now I respect the members of both the delegation to come on stage for photographs. Meanwhile, I request everyone in the auditorium to please remain seated where they are till the dignitaries move from the auditorium. Thank you. I request everyone in the auditorium to please remain seated till the dignitaries move the auditorium.
you all very much.